All right. Okay, choice band and palm. I guess you have knockoff probably. There's something I don't care about getting knocked.
This is like chess for
For autists.
mega nerds.
I think I don't care if this gets knocked because it's gonna, yeah. Alright. And then I'll just do this. Where is my chat window? Am I gonna have to just keep a separate? Ugh. Oh, damn, okay. Not me. Oh, that's right.
Wait, what?
Oh, you only hit once.
The fuck? I thought triple axel was like a minimum of 3 hits, no?
No, it's a maximum of 3 hits, but it has 90% accuracy. So if you miss any of the hits, the move ends.
You got the thunderclap as well, that's crazy.
The stupid thing about triple axel too is that it's progressive damage, so the third hit does the most. It's the only multi-hit move that works like that. It's really dumb. Right.
Well, that's completely fucked me, so
yeah, you're cooked.
Fuck.
Okay.
You know what's coming now on this move, surely.
Gastrodon. Gastrodon is going to click Earthquake. Gastrodon also, you have a chance to have Ice Beam, right? Yeah, you do. So, I think I just do this.
Yeah. The fact that you know all of the movesets, you've been playing way too many games, man. How do you know the movesets for all of these? I mean, okay, yeah, Gastrodon's going to have Earthquake, obviously, but like, the Ambipom knockoff, like what?
Yeah, well, Ambipom has, I think, 2 or 3 different sets. You have the Fake Out Silk Scarf set with Fake Out Double Edge, knockoff, U-Turn, I think, and then you have the Choice Band set, which is triple axle knockoff, double edge. I always forget the 4th move. It might also be U-Turn. So you had I think the Silk Scarf set. Or no, you had the Choice Band set. That's right.
How much of this did you actually play?
Ranbats, I've played a decent amount. I was in the top 100 world during Black White OU, but that was like
Jesus Christ.
I was like 15 or something, so it's not here. Let's get the Like Rock Life Orb. Okay, you still have a chance to have knock here, but I don't think I don't think the Life Orb set usually has knock. So let's just do click. Definitely on speed. Alright. And we will start okay, cool, we've got 14 people watching, so while we're playing we can start answering the first question. I'm gonna defer, so I'm gonna let you kind of introduce yourself because I don't want to fuck it up because you're in an interesting stage in your career and I'm not sure how much you want to reveal. But yeah, obviously everybody who's in the channel knows me. You and I have done a podcast before, but for those of you who are unfamiliar, Chad, please give the room an introduction.
Yes. So most people will know me as the CMO at TDM, one of the largest agencies in the world. I'm currently going through a kind of transitionary period, I guess, where I'm taking a little bit more time for myself. Naturally trying to operate as a CMO in one of the biggest agencies in the world gets kind of, kind of full on. So wanting to spend a lot of time traveling this year has kind of forced me to reset a little bit and take a little bit of time away from being like in the weeds of the business. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I've also decided that I'm going to commit to my desire to start my own socials, my own personal brand. Initially, I was unsure like how to go about that. What content was I going to create? Was I going to keep it to what I am good at, what I know, what I've been doing for the last 4 years? Or was I going to just make something kind of random? And I decided that it's probably best for my own interests to kind of show how to run a business at this kind of scale. I feel like there's a lot of people in the space, the educational OFM space, who are doing a disservice, to say the least. And I want to kind of give my 2 cents, I suppose. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure that we'll talk about that some, but I tend to agree. I think that obviously, like, my entire platform is, and your entire platform is, like, organic social for OFM is kind of the place that you need to be. It's the thing that makes the most sense. It's where most of the leverage is, and so I think that most of the people in this space are like the guru types that, like, want to promote the idea that there is like a one-size-fits-all solution, or that you can completely systematize content creation and expect to get outstanding results, and that's just, like, clearly not the case.
Yeah, 100%. It's a shame. It's a shame. I mean, I have my first video, which is literally going live in a couple of minutes.
Hell yes.
And it's on trial reels. And when I was doing some research, as every good content creator should, do your diligence on what's out there currently, who's talking about what, I was, like, so underwhelmed with with the stuff that was out there currently. So it gives me a lot of confidence that there's still, like, room to provide as much value as possible, which really is my goal. I don't really have any other incentive. I'm not particularly looking to, like, turn it into some kind of course or some kind of offer. I just want to, I want to kind of, like, I don't know, be known as a bit of an authority in the space, if possible. I just like the fact that I can share things that have worked very well for me, for us. And fortunately, the quality of OFM YouTube is pretty low, to say the least. So
Yeah,
I should
it's not hard
have a
to stand
relatively,
out.
yeah, I should have a relatively easy time doing that, or at least I hope so. I might be wrong. We'll see.
No, I think you will. I think that you're going to do phenomenal. And, like, again, for anybody that's unfamiliar, Chad is the guy that I trust as far as, like, his judgment and his taste in organic social, his understanding. So if you follow me and you've gotten any value out of my content, understand that Chad thinks very similar to me, except he's operated at an industrial scale in his work with TDM. And so, whereas I have kind of a more, like, bespoke sort of craftsman-like approach to this, which is inherently very difficult to scale, I think the unique perspective that you bring to the table is the deep understanding of organic social and, like, what is required to achieve success. And you've demonstrated that, obviously, over and over and over again with all the creators that you've worked with TDM. But you've done it at a much larger scale than I ever have. And so I think that, like, anybody that's interested in really growing and, like, understanding social media, not just at a mechanistic level, but what that looks like in practice for a huge organization, it's the advantage that you have. And yeah, I will definitely be pushing people your way. I'm super excited to see what you do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
All right, we're gonna start with viewer questions now. So seems like kind of a softball one. I'm gonna let you take this one. Does link in bio hurt reach? Is there a solution to that besides putting it in highlights? What about a personal domain? What have you guys been doing as far as, like, link in bio stuff right now? Because there was obviously that huge Instagram ban wave that kind of fucked everybody.
Yeah. So the first part of that question is, does it harm your reach? And the answer, unfortunately, is yes. By how much? As a number, as a percentage, I'll be lying to you if I gave you some figures that I pulled out of my ass. But we noticed that it was very consistent. It was a very consistent theme across all of the accounts that we manage. The solution initially was to plug it into your highlights, which is what most people did. Then, of course, as you would expect, you take a huge hit with your conversion, and your traffic as a result starts to dwindle. No fun. The current solution is that we are using Oopsie. We found that has the kind of the better trade-off against, like, having a highlight, getting the most potential reach, but also balancing that with as much conversion as possible. So for us currently, Oopsie has been, like, the best solution to that problem.
And I just had I just released a podcast like last week with the founder, with Sammy. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do another one. I'm really interested in these like link in bio solutions because it seems like there's subtle, from the user perspective, there's like very subtle differences between all of them that seem to make like a really big difference in aggregate. So I was like pretty like the period where I was most active in OFM. It seemed like it didn't really matter what link in bio solution you use. Like there was a lot less scrutiny on those things. Whereas now it seems like it matters quite a bit. So.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. We tested pretty much everything, and it took us weeks. You know, that first ban wave took place months ago.
Yeah.
And really, kind of since then, we've been testing different service providers, and you know, we're not affiliated. I've got no affiliation. I've never even spoken to the guy personally. But Oopsie has been, really good so far. So that would be my recommendation for pretty much anyone.
Excellent. All right, next question. There's a few different kind of like variations of this question, so I put it pretty high up in the queue. The next question is almost identical. And this is a really interesting one. I think that this is something that you and I are probably going to have really strong opinions about. I want to get your take first. So the question is, you just signed a vanilla creator with no specific interests or passions and no social media presence. So you need to promote her from zero. You can't leverage existing creators. So basically all of this is saying is like no ad spend, no cheat codes, like you're just starting fully from scratch, brand new creator. Your goal is to start getting subscribers on OF already in the first week. What content are you asking your creator to produce? How do you edit that content? Where and how are you promoting her to achieve the goal? So it's a pretty multi-layered question, so feel free to chew on it for a sec.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. And unfortunately, it's a situation that I think most agencies kind of find themselves in. I don't know about you, but for me, my experience with like hearing from people who are struggling from the same problem is that it's pretty widespread. A lot of creators, unfortunately, are nicheless, interestless, and that doesn't particularly lean in very well with interest media.
No.
And the direction that things are going. That makes it very hard. Beginner agencies now are in a position where really the only kind of creators that they can get a hold of are those ones that are like, you know, maybe they're Latin American, maybe they are salary creator, maybe they're just kind of in that like 0 to 5K per month. Wow, I just lost from inactivity. Amazing.
I'll make sure. Hold on, I'm gonna rematch and turn the timer off.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. So a lot of agencies find themselves in that situation where they're working with creators in the 0 to like 5K per month range, and that's also, you know, it's no coincidence that's where the creators who fall into this bracket live. The truth is, if it was me, I wouldn't be onboarding that creator in the first place, just to be transparent, because I want to do everything possible to give myself as much leverage to take every creator that we work with to as high as, you know, humanly possible. And that starts with your recruitment. That starts with how specific and how, you know, careful you are with selecting your creator roster.
Yeah, you have to vet, like, my opinion has always been that, like, when you're onboarding creators, you have to be selective. You have to vet them in the same way that you would vet employees. I think that there's just too many agencies that think that you have to work with every creator, especially, and like, I think this is really hard for newer agencies who are just trying to get into the business, and they're like, I'll take any lead I can get. But like, ultimately, it's really, I think it's a mistake to do that even in the beginning, because it's really hard to learn the business with a creator that sucks. Like, you're just not going to learn the things that you need to learn to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, the actual answer that I would give is I certainly would be looking to utilize other platforms that, honestly, I wouldn't opt for if I had the choice. I think your ceiling for a creator of that caliber, let's say, is very low.
Yes.
I haven't seen anyone successfully take a creator who fits that narrative up to like anything north of 50K. I just haven't seen it,
And even
and it's
50K
because
is like to caveat that, because I think that there are probably a lot of people listening to this that think that 50K a month is like a good, like, it's not that that's like a small amount of money or anything like that, but the reality is that like only agencies that have been doing this for years and have like expert level understanding of how to scale those creators, like how to scale a really generic creator, and are also probably investing heavily in paid ads, are capable of reaching even that threshold. So like,
yeah,
I think realistically, like this type of creator probably caps out at like 10K for most agencies.
for
And
sure.
if you're going to put the extraordinary amount of effort that's required to get a mediocre creator to 10K, you would be better served spending the additional like another month even finding a better creator and then investing that time and resources into them, because it's going to pay off 10x or more.
Exactly. This actually reminds me of a conversation that I had in TDM Business, the Telegram.
Nice crit. Must be nice, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man. I've also got some nice stat boosts going on here, so good luck getting me out of this. So yeah, I had a conversation with a guy, just some random guy who was wow, nice crit, bro.
That crit was not relevant. That's a torn hydro pump, brother.
Who was basically saying like defending black hat strategies for traffic, which, as you'll know, I mean, both of us are probably pretty adamant against that.
Yes.
But he was saying like, you know, you can scale to X number, and I'm like, well, okay, that's great, but you know, some people have got, you know, more ambition than that. Some people aren't happy with 20, 30K, and I think if you're someone that wants to genuinely take this business to where is possible as far as revenue, you are going to have to get very, very good at recruitment. And the proof I have of this is most of the largest agencies in the world that I've networked with and spoken to are pretty bang average at traffic. They're pretty bang average at chatting, but they are exceptional at recruitment, networking, in-person events. They do those things so well that they almost don't need to know your silly black hat strategy for traffic.
No.
Because they're, you know, pulling down like a few $1 million a month with basically networking and recruitment strategies.
I think a great example of this, and this is like not to, I'm not going to throw any shade here, but like Creators Inc. is a phenomenal example of the exact type of agency that you're describing, where they're, I think, probably the largest management agency in the United States right now. They're based in LA, and what they basically just have an endless supply of leads. Their chatting is not good, their marketing is not good, but they have an endless supply of leads because they've crafted a brand around the agency that is extremely appealing and attractive to creators. And as a consequence, they can point at like, oh, look, we've successfully recruited some of the largest creators in the industry. Those creators all get special treatment, and then they leverage those creators as like figureheads to attract smaller talent, and then they form a really stable revenue base of those like mediocre 10 to 20K creators that are not really capable of making it big, simply because they've built this recruitment engine, and they like those leads are coming to them. Like I doubt that they do any sort of like active recruitment these days. Most of their stuff is probably inbound.
Yeah, you know, couldn't have said it better myself. So to answer that question, don't get yourself in that situation in the first place. And if you have to, then you're going to have to basically fight tooth and nail with as many platforms as possible. I would try to get your distribution as wide as you possibly can. I would be doing basically every platform possible. It's not the kind of creator that you can, you know, scale vertically with Instagram Reels.
Right.
You're going to be spinning your wheels. You need to be doing Threads, Reddit, X, Instagram, TikTok. You need to just go for like straight, you know, horizontal distribution.
Yeah, I would generally agree with that assessment. I think, okay, so to just break this down a little bit more, let me just make sure we answered all parts of this question. Another thing also is just something that I want to touch on. I think this is a great question because of all of the misconceptions that it contains. Your goal is to start getting subscribers on OF in the first week. I don't think that should be your goal. I think that like you need to actually build a stable base of content and at least some semblance of a creator identity before you start thinking about like the back end side of things. Of all of the creator launches, there's one org that I think does creator launches really well. Do you know he's based in Bali, you know Mike and his banana?
Oh, I do. Yeah, he's a funny guy, man. He's got some really interesting personal brands.
He is a very funny guy, but his whole thing,
Yeah.
his agency specialty is like absolutely insane month one launches. So I don't think he has any educational content. He really should make some because he's a super funny guy. But yeah, like he plans for like months in advance to prepare for a creator launch in order to generate revenue on that first month. But he's not like taking an off the street creator and going like, okay, week one, like we're expecting to get you subs. There's like a lot of groundwork that has to be laid in order for that to happen, in order to build a successful launch creator.
That's an interesting strategy. I mean, the rebuttal to that most agencies will have is like, well, am I working for free? Like contractually, what's in place there to ensure that I'm actually not wasting my time? I guess the concern from an agency's perspective there would be that they're working for free for a month and there's no guarantee that that creator is going to stick around. It's an interesting one, and I think if you can do it like safely and securely without the risk of the creator running away or something going horribly wrong, I think it's definitely worth doing, because ultimately the creators that you sign are never going to be more motivated than they are in the first couple of weeks.
Yes, for sure. So I think that the way that I would approach that is like, again, I'm just never personally, you personally, we're never working with a creator that fits this description, just because it's just more hassle than it's worth. But my approach would be something like, exactly like you said, get them really excited, get them super motivated to create content. And then once you have kind of some sort of semblance of a brand identity established and they know the type of content that they're going to create, lay the groundwork, like have a bunch of content prepared, and go into that launch with the expectation that you're probably not going to make very much money in the beginning. But that's business, you know, like there's really not that many businesses. I think the reason that this is an interesting question is because our business in particular, people have this expectation that it's like a get rich quick thing. And so I think if your first business is OFM, it sets you up really badly. Like it gives you really bad expectations for any business that you go into in the future, because most people don't start small businesses expecting to be profitable year one, let alone week one. So that's just something to kind of think about. I'm not suggesting, by the way, that you can make money very quickly in this business. That is kind of the draw, but like the inherent risk of business is that there is no guarantee of capital, right?
Yeah, completely agree with you. Yeah.
All right. So, and then what content are you asking your creator to produce? I'm going to answer that in the next question. So the next question is very similar. What content would you ask your creator to film, and how would you edit that content if the creator is a female with zero hobbies, passions, etc., just a soulless girl whose life is rotting in bed scrolling TikTok? I'm gonna guess that this person is speaking about he has somebody specific in mind when he's asking this question.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
I would say the cool thing about interest media, and Chad, I'd be interested in your input on this, is that if you are sufficiently creative, if you're sufficiently inventive, I actually do think that you can make interesting content out of almost anything. So like, I think that there is actually room in the market for it's not necessarily like you're going to have a super repeatable, easy, the first thing that comes to mind content format, but like if somebody, you can make bedrot interesting, right? You can make it relatable. Like something like this seems like it's a kind of a blue ocean territory for like relatable bedrot memes, like, oh, I was going to do X thing today and then I spent all day in bed doing this. Like there's a way that you can script, shoot, and edit that content in a way that is engaging and entertaining and relatable for consumers of that content. Like there's absolutely 1000% an audience for that. The bigger question than if your creator is a soulless, passionless husk is, if that's the case and you're for some reason like voluntarily choosing to work with this creator, the question that you need to ask yourself is how creatively skilled am I to turn that into something engaging? That's kind of the, because like I think that you're like the correct answer is probably just don't work with a creator like that. But I do want to answer these and like give real answers to these because I think that this is a really common problem that people face in this business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if the person who's asked this question, if by saying that the model in this instance is like a nicheless, interestless bed rotter,
yeah,
I think if they are saying that like they have no hobbies, but they're not necessarily like work shy, they're happy to make content, but they have nothing to create content about.
Yeah,
I think your answer is perfectly sufficient. I think that's a great answer to the question. But if they mean something slightly different, whereby the creator is quite literally like not willing or able, or for whatever reason, to make content, then I think the answer is slightly different. And my answer would be that you want to try to utilize image-based platforms as much as you possibly can. So I would be leveraging Reddit, Threads, and X much more heavily than Instagram, because the nature of Instagram is short-form content, which unfortunately for this person requires a lot more work, a lot more thought, setup, and time. So for me, I would be trying to encourage the person to upload everything and anything that they have content-wise into your Drive system, and then I would be using those image-based platforms for distribution. So I'd be running up Reddit. I would be, preferably like a safe for work account and a not safe for work account. I would also be 100% doing Threads at some scale as well. Not to sound like black hat, because that's definitely not my bag. But you can scale Threads relatively easily, and you can make a lot of money doing Threads. I have a friend who's making 100K a month from Threads only.
Holy shit!
Which is astounding. But it's not cap. it's very much legit. It's taken him a long time, but it can be done. And I would also be using X as well. I think between those three platforms, you can probably get your bed rotting creator to, I don't know, 10 to 15K if you're lucky with those three platforms.
So Reddit, Threads, X, like what you're basically saying is that like the combination of just text and images for a creator that's like unmotivated to make interesting video content, you can create a solid foundation of revenue for that creator with those three platforms.
100%, yeah, you can. And as we established, I'm cooked here, by the way. Like both of my Pokemon are weak to fire. This isn't going very well for me, is it?
No, you're getting cooked.
You are going to have a ceiling, a very low ceiling, unfortunately. But for a lot of beginner agencies, that's enough. Like that's enough to get them off the ground. That's enough to get them to a position where they have some results to show, and they can onboard more creators, and they have a better, approach to recruitment. And I think that's all that matters.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that, I think that like this is the other thing that you bring to the table that I don't, is you have a much more robust understanding of all of these other platforms and the like the kind of the unconventional tactics. I talk about one thing, right? I talk about high quality organic content. I talk about vertical scaling. You, I think, have a much more realistic, like broad-based perspective. So, again, like and anybody, I think I have your YouTube link in the description. Anybody who has not already, if you were watching this, please go subscribe to Chad's channel. I think you said you're dropping your first video today, or it is dropped.
It dropped 23 minutes ago, exactly. So yeah, it's ready.
Sick. Yeah, definitely give this man a follow. All right, we're gonna go to the next question. I think this one is for me. Would you ever establish a workflow similar to that of The Secretary, 1995, and have a sexy assistant? And if so, would you allow her to defecate and piss all over herself in order to prove her loyalty to you? Or is it like way more chill than that?
Who's asking these questions, man?
The username is down here, but I don't know who this is. Would I have a sexy assistant? Yes. I'm not sure under what circumstances that shitting and pissing all over yourself would prove your loyalty to me. I wouldn't ask that of you. I would say it is, in fact, way more chill than that. But Yeah, I think I'd be into having a sexy assistant. What about you, Chad? Do you think you'd be into having a sexy assistant, like a personal assistant?
I'm not sure my partner would be very happy with that.
Well, what if
I
they're the
kind of,
assistant?
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I kind of already have one, I guess.
There you go.
So the answer to that question for me is yes. But yeah, I would be wondering, you know, what that person has going on in their life. That's a serious question to ask themselves. They must live some very interesting lives.
I'm simultaneously flattered and disturbed. All right. What are your personal thoughts on the longevity of making mass IG accounts with AI content as opposed to a few high quality content accounts? The longevity. So specifically focusing on longevity here. What's your take? Because I think I have an opinion on this. I'm curious, like, what's your kind of your broad take on the future of AI content?
To answer the question on longevity, there is no longevity with that strategy. What you are describing is a black hat strategy that is not encouraged or tolerated even by the platform that you're trying to utilize for traffic to prop up your business. If you're talking about creating mass accounts and pumping out AI or hybrid style content, for me that fits into the black hat category for traffic, which, you know, I spend a lot of time like talking about black hat and bashing it and stuff. A lot of it is true, some of it is kind of exaggerated. But if your question is about longevity and you're trying to build a big sustainable business that you don't have to, you know, wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweats thinking about your Instagram accounts, then I would suggest that you stay away from that. Not only is that going to provide you with an awful lot of headache and problems from a technical and logistical perspective, but you're also, like, you know, you are going to have a ceiling on that. I mean, how good AI is with video at the moment is fantastic. Like, the AI has made leaps and bounds, and AI content is getting better and better and better. But if we're being honest with ourselves, it's still so inferior to genuinely good organic content that you're never going to compete with the biggest creators and the biggest agencies on the platform. I would advise against. If you're a beginner agency and you don't have the ability to recruit as well as some more well-established agencies, then maybe it's a good strategy. But I would suggest that you just learn the skills associated with becoming very good at organic content before you try to dive down the route of like mass accounts, cloud phones, automations, because you're not going to learn a whole lot. But what you are going to learn is the pain of running black hat strategies, which anyone who's familiar with will understand.
Yeah, I agree 100% with all of that. I also think that, like, on the longevity front, there isn't any, because like the arc of, like, kind of the evolution of all media is that when a new sort of artistic medium is developed, the expectations that people have of that media, because they have no understanding of like what the good version of that looks like. Let's take movies, for instance. So the example that I like to use is the first ever movie is called The Horse in Motion, and it's literally just 56 photographs in sequence of a horse running. It looks like a stop motion movie. Now, when The Horse in Motion was released, those 56 photographs in sequence represented a massive technological breakthrough that made like the category of film possible. So it's impossible to like overstate the significance of that movie. But if somebody made The Horse in Motion today, you would be like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. This is so boring. This is so stupid. I think the same thing about AI content, where like in the very beginning, it's easy to look at this stuff and say like, oh my God, wow, like these images are like relatively high quality compared to, you know, you have the people use like the Will Smith eating spaghetti example as like the early video capabilities versus where we are now. And it's like, it's interesting that you can do that, but the bar for quality is only ever going to increase. And so if your entire focus is on spamming really shitty content, like the beginner level, entry level, horse in motion type content, you're never going to learn. You're never going to be like pushing kind of the frontier of what's possible in that domain. And consequently, like there is no longevity in it, because eventually you're just going to become the 1 millionth, like Indian, like AI video farm. And there is no future in that, because people don't want to consume that content. People are already tired of that content. So, in my opinion, I think there's just like almost no point in pursuing that path.
100%. And to like add one final point to that, it's also clear that the platforms are doing their best to highlight content or even accounts now that are predominantly AI. And you're crazy if you think that you're going to get to a position where you're so far ahead of these huge billion-dollar companies, and they can't catch you. And your black hat strategy is like outwitting this company. Like you've lost your mind if you think that's the case. So you are basically playing a constant game of cat and mouse with the platform. And eventually, that for me is just like, is this really a business, or is this just like a little bit of short-term cash flow that like isn't really building anything sustainable or long-term? It's just not the way that I would be trying to build a business if I were just starting now.
1 second. Somebody is telling me that the link that I have for your YouTube page is not working, so I'm going to fix that really quick so that people can follow you.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
I think
I'm not sure why.
Actually, hold on.
I need to win a fucking match here, by the way.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
I've severely, underestimated your Pokemon ability here.
That was your first mistake.
I know. I'm suffering now. It's going to be difficult for me.
Okay, that link should be fixed for anybody in the chat. Again, please go click the very first link in the description. Let me know if it works. It is at Chad Organic on YouTube. So yeah, definitely give this man a subscribe. Okay.
Thank you.
Next question. When running hybrid/AI models, do you typically do anything different regarding her branding, or is it the same as normal models? If it's different, how so? Have you guys done any hybrid, or like, is TDM like kind of in that ecosystem yet?
We've certainly experimented with it as part of our research and development, yes. And we've had like mixed results. So if you're asking me is it something that we do as part of our day-to-day currently in our operations, no, it's not. But it is something that we experiment with on a pretty consistent basis to make sure that we're not missing anything. Like, as much as we are not the advocates for black hat strategy, and it's not the way that I want to build my business, we're not so far up our own asses that we think that there's nothing we don't know, there's nothing to learn, nothing to be gained.
Right.
This industry is moving so quickly with the addition of AI that you would be silly to not at least have your eyes open and be testing and trialing things like on the ground with the team. So we're doing a little bit here and there, but we haven't found anything yet that we can like reliably add into our systems or processes where we feel confident that we're not going to be penalized. For us, the stability and longevity is like everything. I mean, we're a big corporate business. We're not running like a two-man agency in Miami somewhere. Like, we've got families and staff to feed. So longevity and consistency is really important for us. And if we feel like the addition of hybrid content or completely AI content could potentially jeopardize the assets, which are the accounts, we won't entertain that. And we'll do some tests and some trials on like smaller accounts. But if there's any inclination that we are putting ourselves at risk and we're putting our assets, our accounts at risk, for us, it's just it's a no-go.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Really quickly, for anybody a couple of people are saying Chad is a lot louder than me. I just reduced the volume. Let me know if that looks any better now.
Apologies, by the way, if it was deafening.
No, yeah, I don't think it's your fault at all. I think it's just the way OBS is kind of weird in that, like, by default, all windows are 10 times louder than my fucking mic for some reason.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so you're.
So what do we do here then in this situation? Make your turn, man. Make your turn.
I'm trying, dude. Hold on, I'm thinking. Okay, so I got to do some math here. So you have a 1x speed boost. Luxray is base 173 speed, so that should put you at 259.
Correct. Yeah. Did you do that off the top of your head, or did you actually check?
No. I just know the speed tiers pretty well at this point. So I don't outspeed, which means this is not going to kill, but this might. Let's just go. Oh, you had your.
Oh, it's Spider-Man me. Oh.
Goodbye, obliterated.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, some people are saying it's fine. Some people are saying you're loud. Whatever, they can deal with it.
Yeah.
My answer to this question is, I think generally speaking, it seems to me like hybrid AI is kind of a. It seems to me, based on the people that I know that are doing really well with hybrid AI, that's how they have solved the like lazy, uninteresting model problem. Sure. Is they just basically take the model's likeness and then, sort of just like pump out low quality content. It's better than what the model could do, but worse than what the model could do if she gave a shit. So again, I don't really think that there's a ton of longevity in this. Hybrid AI, I think, is like just kind of a short-term cash grab. So if you're looking for a short-term cash grab and you want to get good at this stuff very quickly, the person that I would recommend most highly is Jimmy De Niro. I've done a podcast with him. I think we're probably going to be doing another one pretty soon. But he's the guy that I personally know that seems to have the best grasp on this type of thing. But it's not the direction that I would personally take, and I certainly don't feel confident in like any answer that I could give here that would be accurate. So hopefully that's a good enough answer to your question, though. And this is going to be pretty much the same answer. If you're working with a creator who sends very little marketing content, how would you maximize on that content without using AI? Oh no, not the same answer. How would you maximize on that content without using AI? Assuming that the target platform is Instagram. I think Chad answered that question really well earlier, which is like your target for this scenario, your target platform probably is not Instagram. Your target platform is probably going to be, you said the combination of like Threads plus Reddit plus X, right? Like the image and text-based platforms. Because like if you're struggling with getting quality content from your creators, there's nothing you can, like, short of, flying to them in person and beating them with a bullwhip, there's not really a lot you can do about that. Like your throughput issue, your bottleneck is the creator in that scenario. And so there's not an easy solution to that besides just targeting a different platform and adopting a different strategy. Is there anything that you would add to that?
I don't think so. No, I mean, no, I think those kind of creators they do force you to get very creative and veer towards more of the black hat side of the scale.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's certainly not conducive to building a big sustainable agency, that's for sure. But I do think there is some merit in like spending a little bit of time on black hat strategies, because if I'm honest, it's where I learned a lot of my initial like technical prowess on like the basics of devices like IDs, proxies, that kind of stuff was knowledge that I gained through trying black hat methods back in the day on like dating apps and automations with IG and that kind of thing. So I think it sets you up nicely to understand like how to comply with the platforms, what kind of data they have, what access they have to seeing your side of things. So I think it's got some merit there, but yeah, beyond that, really, do what you can with text and image-based platforms. Run it up as much as you can, try and get some decent results, and then use those results and ultimately to leverage better recruitment strategies.
Yep. All right. Oh, okay. We've got a fitness creator, female. Thank you for specifying. Can you, on the spot, come up with example reels that will have a low skip rate, can retain the viewer, give the reward at the end, and make viewers comment/share? Yes, I can do that on the spot. Give me $5,000 and I'll help you. No, I'm sure we can. I'm sure that we can come up with a few. I think that like on my thing would be like fitness creator. Just off rip, the premise of the question is too broad. Fitness creator, what kind of fitness? Like, is she a bodybuilder? Is she a power lifter? I think that the answer to this question starts with a much greater like a deeper understanding of the creator's specific niche and skill set. So like the answer to this question, if you have a yoga fitness creator, is going to be radically different to the answer to this question if you have a bodybuilding fitness creator. Does she have a good sense of humor? Like, is the content like comedic in nature? Do you have a creator that's like, oh, Chad, help me here. Who's the big fitness creator? She's got like crazy washboard abs, and does like fitness skits. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Potentially. There's one that comes to mind for me straight away. I'm gonna find the handle for you if you give me a second.
Yeah, go for it.
It fits the same description. So we'll see. So here's the handle.
It starts with like a K. Kindle.
Where should I send this to your Telegram?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a creator who is in the fitness niche, but is doing very, very interesting things with her content, and most of it is like humor, comedy skits, with the undertone of like a jacked girl, which provides some nice like layering for her brand. So yeah, the hair goes in with the brand as well. Like, there's a lot of things that she does very, very well. Obviously has a huge page. So that was the example that came to mind for me.
Yeah, crazy physique. So I think that this is a perfect example. This isn't who I was thinking of, but this is a great example. Like, obviously this person is instantly recognizable. So like that's a huge part of the equation. For anybody that's interested in vertical scaling, like even aside, like the content thing is obviously incredibly important, but this is if I ever see this creator again, I will immediately remember her, right? She's got like 2 colors of hair, crazy physique, dresses in a very specific way. Like, Zinnia official, if I ever see any of this creator's content again, I'm immediately going to recognize and be like, oh, hey, I've seen this before, right? Which is, I think, a critical component of branding that most people miss out on. But this, on a content perspective, the question that you have to ask is, again, like, what is the creator's actual niche and what is the personality? So, like, let's take a look at one of this creator's reels just to see what it's all about. I think another creator that's really good that does not do OF but is in this category is, a lean beef patty.
Oh, of course, yeah. Huge creator.
So she's doing kind of like mommy, Showdown type content.
Your audio just went all weird for some reason, by the way.
Yeah, probably just screaming because that was really loud. Gorilla gripping. So it seems like this is like more humorous in orientation. Fart maxing, like these are very attention grabbing. Even just the thumbnails are really good, right? Which is like, you don't really see that too often on Instagram. So yeah, I can't give you an answer to a question that's this broad, but if you re-ask the question with a more specific, so like not generic fitness creator, but like what she's actually doing in the gym and a little bit more about her personality, I would be happy to revisit this question if we have time.
What I would say in response to that question is, I can certainly tell you what not to do as content verticals, because the temptation with fitness creators is to put them in fitness wear, leggings and a top, and have them, basically just doing like posing videos. That's what you absolutely want to avoid, because then you are moving so far away from interest media and developing your own brand that it's just redundant at that point. So yeah, what not to do is what generic OnlyFans fitness creators do, which is just kind of strut around in some leggings. It really is, as you say, based on the intricacies of that person and their personality and leaning into that personality, which is such a broad, shitty answer. And I hate to give that answer, but when the question is so broad, like listing off 5 content verticals is just impossible when you have no context about the creator. And the fitness niche is not really a niche. Like, everyone goes to the gym.
Yeah.
Everyone has leggings. it's a bit of an oxymoron in that sense.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, okay, assuming that so a lot of these questions, and if you start live streaming, you'll probably get this too, as your page grows, which I'm sure it will. A lot of the questions that I encounter are kind of very generic in nature. Something that I would encourage you guys, in the context of having access to us during a live stream, the more specific the question, the better. These are really generic questions that are hard to answer. And I think this is, by the way, not to insult the person that asked this, but I think that questions like this kind of betray a lack of overall understanding of the nature of what it is that you're trying to do. The objective with organic social is to develop a really deep personal connection with the audience that compels them to sort of fall in love with the creator and obviously long-term become a paying subscriber, ideally a whale. The more generic your content is and the broader the questions that you're asking, the less likely you are to achieve that goal. So if your objective is to get really good at organic social, you have to ask way more specific questions. You have to get really granular and figure out what's actually working for the creator, which is the reason that in most of my content, I talk about thinking about these things from first principles and developing a really deep understanding of organic social writ large, because once you understand those principles, it's way easier to apply them to your specific creator. So anybody that's still asking questions, try to get a little bit more specific in your questions, but we'll obviously continue answering these as is because there's so many of them. I really appreciate all of the questions, but just a future note for anybody that's watching. Mm-hmm. So assuming your entire IG reel marketing strategy is text overlays on creators / selfie mirror videos, how would you execute that to maximize real views and conversions to OF? Again, my answer to this question would be unless they're really good, unless you're doing something spectacularly interesting with text overlays on selfie videos that I've never seen before, I don't think that this is a good strategy. I think that this is just a really generic everybody's doing it kind of strategy, and the really generic everybody's doing it kind of strategies just do not work anymore, full stop.
For sure. The video that I just literally dropped on YouTube channel is a trial reel system, which can be implemented by anybody and can double or triple depending on how you use the system, double or triple your output on trial reels. Now, the caveat to that, before you go ahead and start writing things down and start implementing it straight away for your agency, is that only works if you still have good content. So if you genuinely have a creator, the theme for these questions so far has been if I have a shitty creator, how can I make money? And the answer is you kind of can't, unless your expectations are quite low for what is possible with this business. But to try and give some value here, because I want to make sure that people can go away with actionable take homes. Implementing a strategy and the process for trial reels can double or triple your reach pretty comfortably. But if your reach is only a couple of million impressions per month, it's not going to take you from 10K to 50K. It will amplify what content you have available. But doing things like that will certainly help you. And then to kind of go back to the point that I made to an earlier question, you need to be more broad with your distribution if you have a shitty creator, because you have no other option. If really good organic social just isn't an option, you've just got to use what you've got, and that means going very broad with platforms, using as many platforms as possible. Generally image and text-based stuff, again, so Threads, X, Reddit will serve you well, but you need to see those creators as a means to gather data and to gather results that you can use to improve your recruitment strategies, so that eventually you can find yourself in a situation where you do have really good talent to work with. And that is when interest media and your ability to produce very good organic social content for short form will really start to shine through. And you'll find yourself going from the 10 to 30K dead zone, I call it, all the way up to 6 figures and even beyond 6 figures, depending on how good you get with that. So learn the skills now, go for wide distribution with those type of creators. And then once the opportunity arises, which it will do if you're doing everything you can from a recruitment perspective and getting as good results as possible, you will be ready for that opportunity, and you'll go from where you are now to significantly higher pretty quickly.
Yeah, I generally agree with that approach for sure. I think that the natural question that arises from that is like, how do you achieve that sort of like critical mass when it comes to recruiting? And we can, we'll talk about that later for sure. Okay, so we already did this one. I like this question a lot. This is something that I have thought about a great deal. Oh, nice switch. Damn. Okay, I might be a little bit screwed here.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what you've predicted. You know all the move sets. You know all the stats. Like, I'm way out of my depth here, man.
Let's get
Wow.
up. He went for the predict mud shot. And let's do this now. Okay, so how important do you think it is for the front-end marketing to be coherent with the back-end chatting and sales? For instance, if a creator is niched down to target busy men who only have time for at-home workouts, is it important that the actual OF page reflects that, or can it be a different aspect of her personality? I'm gonna let you field this first because I do have some thoughts on this, but I'm curious. You've just worked directly with so many more creators than I have, and I think have probably a deeper understanding of what that cohesive experience looks like just through the sheer volume that you've done in this business.
Sure. I honestly, after all of the experience that I've had in being part of a very, very large team within this business, I don't think it's nearly as important as some people will tell you. The connection between the two departments is like important to an extent, but I've struggled and I've had conversations and meetings based on this exact problem. Like, how do we get the most value by spending time connecting the marketing team with the chatting team? And the conclusion that I came to is that really, only in very, very specific circumstances, you can only get a little bit of value there. And you have to ask yourself, what is the trade-off here? Like, how much time are we spending trying to force this synergy between the marketing team and the chatting team? That really, if you ask yourself critically, like, what does this produce for us tangibly? Like, what do we do based on this information? The use case just isn't really there, and I think when it is there, that communication will happen quite naturally. So, like, for example, if somebody uncovers something in the chats, right? Like, they find like a bunch of subscribers have mentioned a specific outfit that was seen in your social content, or a specific location, or a specific vertical, then that's clearly like actionable information,
signal,
data that you can take back and use. But that will happen organically, and I think like forcing synergy and forcing like meetings and time and calls and this kind of thing to draw the two departments together, honestly, is a waste of time. I think it will happen naturally, ad hoc, when it matters, and when there's nothing coming through, like, it's probably just not there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you if you're operating at scale, but I think that the answer to this question is different if you are working with a like small number of creators, or you have like a one-on-one relationship, and very specifically, if the creator is both in a niche that like can maximally take advantage of this, and is willing to kind of like put the effort in to create that cohesive experience. So like something that immediately comes to mind would be like an ASMR creator that's doing a specific sort of like niche ASMR. Most of the people that are going to like subscribe to that creator on socials probably also want like a more intimate version of that experience on the back end, and you should at least make an effort to have some content for them. But I think that the point that you made is really important. Like, your customers will tell you, right? If you have an ASMR page and your customers are coming to your OnlyFans page and nobody says anything about ASMR, then they're probably there for a different reason, and they don't really particularly care about like having that end-to-end experience. But generally speaking, I think that if you're in a very specific niche, or you're like if you have the ability to take advantage of this maximally. So again, ASMR comes to mind. I think something like if you're really dominant, if you have like a very dominant type of personality on socials, you want to carry that over to the OnlyFans page, because that's probably what people are going there for, right? So I think that like maybe the easy answer to this question is that if there's a specific sexual or intimate or like content domain that you exist in that translates naturally to the back end, and you can integrate that into the experience for the customer, you probably should. But otherwise, like you said, it's probably not worth it. So like for a fitness creator or something like that, like at-home workouts doesn't seem to me like it would be something that's in super high demand. But if you have customers that are requesting it, then that's an option that you can include.
This is the second match where I've been destroyed by a fire type Pokemon because I've been left with 2 ice types.
It's brutal. So fun fact about random battles, you can have up to 3 Pokemon on a team that are weak to the same type. So for me, I had 3 weak to electric types in this round. And then you can only have 1 type of Pokemon. You can't have more than 1 type of Pokemon that is quad weak to anything. So do I have anything that's quad weak in this round? I don't think so. Oh, I have Bisharp, which is quad weak to fighting, which means that I can't have another quad weak to fighting Pokemon on there. Just a little bit of secret hidden information.
I wonder how many people are actually going to use that information bar me. just me. That was just for me, basically.
Yeah, where are the... I'm very curious how many. It would be really funny if we just like randomly got some just like Pokemon diehards in the chat, like people that are not even in OFM that are just here to watch random battles. All right.
I'm getting cooked, man. I'm getting destroyed. I've got to win at least 1. I have to win 1, man. I have to.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see, yeah, I guess.
Out of the creators you've worked with, who do you find is most successful in terms of generating sales? The ones who are more quality focused or the ones who are more volume focused? I think this is going to be an easy question. Go. I'll let you. I'll let you go.
Well, yeah, of course it's quality. We laugh because it seems obvious to us, but that's the business that we've built. Quantity is something that comes after quality, as much as people don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I know the whole like just spam reels, bro, just make like 50 accounts. Like I know that crowd's gonna hate me saying that, but unfortunately quality has to come first, because the leverage in scaling with quantity is so minimal. And on the flip side, the leverage that comes with scaling quality is like astronomical. I can't even tell you how critical that is to building like one of the biggest agencies in the world. You will not do that with just quantity. Like it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. So yeah, again, this is kind of like the same kind of question where my creator doesn't do anything. She doesn't have interests or hobbies. Okay, well then maybe there's an argument for doing more.
Scaling via volume or like multi-platform distribution, but yeah, agreed.
Beyond that, like quality is the obvious answer to that question, because that's where all of the leverage is in this space.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, it's just like the classic question is, would you rather have 10 mediocre creators that are making 10K a month, or would you rather have 1 creator that's making 100K a month? And there's questions that are, the question then sort of becomes like, okay, well, I'm insufficiently diversified, but like just performing the economic calculation, if you're investing an equal number of time into all 10 of those creators, you're gonna kill yourself. And if you're investing that much time into 1 creator and that creator bears fruit and is a 6-figure creator, like obviously on a purely rational economic basis, you're gonna want to have the 100K creator, and it's much easier to do that with quality. Exactly like you said, like developing quality, developing the brand, then scaling volume, as opposed to starting with, like, you're not going to learn anything by teaching yourself how to make 1 million reels. Like, it's just not going to happen. All right, here we go. Assuming that the guest has been a trendsetter in creator space, I would say that's a very safe assumption. How do you come up with ideas that have the potential to become global trends that everyone copies? Can you predict what idea will become a global trend? My piece on this, just because they asked you and I'm offended. No, I'm just kidding, obviously. My piece on this is that I think that we're actually kind of moving away from a trend-based social media economy. And so the bigger question is like how much this question actually matters. But beyond that, I'm gonna defer to you.
I don't like the word trend. I definitely wouldn't describe myself as someone that has like innovated trends. Like for me, that's like almost an insulting term to use, because a trend is like the epitome of what I'm trying to avoid with what I do. Copying trends or even creating trends is like we're actively avoiding that because a trend is the exact opposite of leaning into interest media. I mean, okay, you can generate some subscribers in the short term, sure, but you have to ask yourself like, are you doing any damage to the brand for that creator by jumping on the trend? Because a lot of the trends that you will see are not applicable to your creators and their brands. If you can take an existing trend and turn it into something that has relevance to your creator, their brand, their image, then okay, great, like go for it. Most of the time that won't be the case. Most of the time it's like generic slop that has picked up steam because a few big creators did it and now everyone else is jumping on the back of it. So I certainly wouldn't describe it in that way. What I think I have been particularly good at is coming up with new creative ideas for the creators that do have like a few layers of brand. And there's no real like actionables as far as how do you do that. I think that comes with practice. I mean, ultimately, I've been in this space now for 4 years and worked with hundreds of creators, most of which have been pretty typical, pretty generic. But I've been fortunate enough to work with a handful who are very well branded, partly because of their own like interests and hobbies and partly because of what we've done with them to develop that. But that's where we've had the most, if I were to say like, you know, if there's one thing that we've had the most success with, it's getting very good at coming up with new creative ideas that haven't really yet surfaced. And that's a skill that you learn with time. That's not something you can just pick up from like an SOP or a system that you read or a YouTube video that you can watch. That is like intrinsic knowledge that you can only get when you've done enough repetition. One thing that I can say is as like a tip to getting better at that and giving yourself maybe like a starting point rather than just like sitting here and being like, okay, I'm going to ideate new ideas for whatever, Becky. I would recommend that you find creators who are in a similar niche or the same niche, but are not operating from a perspective of like, I need to get traffic to my subscription site.
Right.
So finding creators that are not anywhere near the OnlyFans space is a good place to find those ideas that maybe haven't like hit our industry yet. And you can be the first person to like bring that into this space, and generally that works quite well. So that is something that people can take home and try and implement.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge fan of like, I don't look at other OnlyFans creators for inspiration because 99% of the people in the space are just terrible content creators. There's really very few people that you can look at and say like, oh, that's worth emulating. And the unfortunate thing about our industry is that like everybody is just sort of copying everybody else. We got a Reggie Gigas. Okay. The other piece that I'll say on trend is that like, in addition to just trends in general not being anywhere near as important as they used to be, there's also the component of think about like every social media trend you've ever seen. Do you know who started it? Is there even an advantage to like starting a trend? Probably not really. Like if you're the first, like you get the initial kind of like virality boost of being like the originator. Like obviously it becomes a trend because the content performed well, but like all that matters is that the content performed well. You don't actually get any additional incremental advantage out of being the trend setter, because 100 iterations down the line, the 100th time that somebody sees that trend, nobody knows who started it. Like that's just not the nature of these things, right? No one knows who started the rumor. They just know the latest iteration of the rumor.
Yeah, well said. I agree completely. Yeah, it's not the right word. I think you shouldn't even be like thinking about trends in the way that you approach content.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right. How am I going to deal with this big fucker?
you're going to not deal any damage so that I can get rid of slow start, and then I'm going to one shot every single Pokemon on your team. Was the plan until?
I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'm hoping that's not
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Maybe we'll see how this protect goes off. If I can get a 2 protect in a row, I might be okay. But have you got something like? Oh no, you've got a fairy move that breaks through.
You're not getting 2 protects. Come on. All right. What are the tricks to / how do you achieve U.S. audience on Instagram for a Latina who doesn't speak English and can film her content only at home that looks like ghetto?
Wait, sorry. Say that again.
I think we can abbreviate this to like, what are some tricks / how do you achieve a U.S. audience on Instagram? The the specific addendum is for a Latina who doesn't speak English and can film her content only at home that looks like ghetto.
If this is like the state of people's, if this is the situation that a lot of guys find themselves in with their agencies, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard out there.
That sucks, man. That really sucks. Yeah, again, like leverage image and text-based platforms. You're gonna really, I mean, you might find like a unicorn that is like genuinely very good at producing short form content, and you can negate the negative impact of like being in, Latin America, where everything is like fighting against you from a content perspective. I mean, if you think about how you get a tier 1 audience on Instagram, unfortunately, that's like almost now entirely down to the content rather than your device, your IP address, like all of this nonsense. So yeah, you're gonna have a hard time because everything from the background of the content to the language that is spoken, the accent, like all of these things are just leaning into where the content is going to be best shown, which unfortunately for you is nowhere near the United States.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, man. It's a really tough one.
Yeah, I think that like the people that I know that are really good at this are Hive. Oh, you got the double protect? You're cringe, bro. You're cringe.
We said about this actually, didn't we, on Telegram? Like, no substitute and protect.
Unbelievable, dude. All right.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I forgive you. Assuming that the goal is for the creator to reproduce an Instagram... Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Assuming that the goal is for the creator to reproduce an Instagram reel as closely as possible to exactly how you envisioned it. You got... Oh, the Terra Poison. It's so clutch. He's so clutch. No.
Come on. It's coming home. It's coming home.
How do I kill this monster, dude? Okay, I know what I gotta do. Assuming that the goal is for the creator to reproduce an IG reel as closely as possible as exactly how you envisioned it, how do you typically structure your scripts or instructions? This is a good, I like this question. I would say this is somewhat creator dependent. I can tell you exactly how I do it. I like to approach this from the perspective of trying to think exactly what how I would phrase this. Some creators work better with an extremely structured, like line by line, cue by cue script. Some creators are better at improvisation, and so you can kind of give them a loose outline. So on that level, it's on a creator by creator basis. How I actually automate this, I have an app that I developed called Proofline, and basically what Proofline does is, for anyone who's familiar with my brand blueprint exercise, it's included in my course. I'm not going to shill that right now. It's in the description if you're interested.
It's a great course, though.
What?
It's a great course.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. But basically, you have a brand blueprint, which is just a comprehensive assessment of everything about that creator: their niche, their personality, their physical appearance, the sounds that they use, like their sort of like visual cues. All of that gets turned into a PDF. You feed the PDF to Proofline, and then every single week on Monday, Proofline automatically sends that creator a brief of all of the most performant content within their niche. So like things that are worth emulating, and then a handful of like raw ideas. And then those raw ideas, depending on the creator, will either be full scripts, that are like AI generated. Again, I don't necessarily like writing with AI, but if you're trying to do anything at scale, like it's definitely a huge thing to have in your back pocket. that's how I approach it. So I try to automate that process as much as possible. Like with the advent of agentic AI, it's actually really easy. I'm probably going to do another live stream later today for people in my course group. So I do like private lives where I demonstrate exactly how Proofline works, and I'm going to share kind of the infrastructure for that so that people can build it themselves. But that's how I typically approach this. But it's not like a one size fits all solution. How do you guys handle this?
Well, disappointingly, a lot simpler and a lot less sexy. So we have our CSMs providing pretty detailed plans. In the instance that there is something to reference visually, there's an existing video, there's something that we can point to and say, hey, here's an example physically so you can watch it. We will do so. In the circumstances where we're creating something maybe new or altering something substantially, we simply provide content plans that have a frame by frame breakdown for each piece of content that we want them to produce. And the unfortunate truth is there is no way to make that like super easily consumable by the creator. Like at the end of the day, it is like a step-by-step guide on do this, do that, stand here, shoot this. But we found that making it as detailed as possible, as frustrating as some people may find that to sit and read through the content plans, gives us the best chance at achieving success. The worst thing in the world is like, I'm not suggesting that you are, by the way, but if you were to like over engineer certain processes within the business to the point where they're no longer serving the business,
Yes.
that for us is like a big, like, we've done it a couple of times before with different things, and we just refuse to do it again. So the simple stuff often works, especially with the creators that probably don't, maybe they don't want to use like certain tools and applications, and maybe they don't want that kind of stuff. And if that is the case, then having a detailed frame by frame, like you break the video down into frames, into parts of video, and then you describe those as much as you can. And where you can, you give physical visual references, videos, images, screenshots, whatever you can, to bolster that and to make sure that there's not very much like error between sending the brief over and receiving the content in your drive. But yeah, my answer was far less sexy, unfortunately, but we keep it very simple for the fact that it's just what works for us and our creators.
No, I think it makes perfect sense. Like, the other thing that I will say is that like that entire automation process only works because I do a bunch of upfront groundwork with the creators. So like they already have a very firm understanding of their brand identity prior to like getting those instructions. If I was if the onboarding process was just like, okay, here's a bunch of like automated, like if I don't have any information about them, that process is useless. So I think that that's a great point, is like it does have to serve the business, it does have to serve the creator if you're going to do anything like that. But like, yeah, fundamentally this just comes down to the creator and like how they handle instructions best, and that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. So if you don't have the resources like Chad to like assign somebody to all of these individual accounts, oh, you don't have enough to make your sub. Oh
No, fuck.
Okay, this is CJ was just asking, this is CJ's question. For those who started doing influencer style safe for work marketing, how important was it to have a model you could actually meet IRL and shoot with? There's a bunch of detail in this. I just want to make sure that I keep it relatively simple. In my head it ends up being okay. So basically the question here is like how important is it to have a model that you can actually meet IRL and shoot with, and then like how do you handle the alternative if you can only do it remotely. So me personally, I got started in the industry only working with models in person, local, and it was a tremendous advantage for the exact reason that you're describing. Like, yes, being there to direct the shots and angles, and like make sure that the takes are correct and make sure that things are being delivered in the right cadence and in the right tone and at the right pace. All of those things are really, really, really important. They do make a significant difference. But ultimately, like that's something, if you're managing models remotely, it's not going to be cost effective to like fly out to those models every time that they need to shoot content. So I do think it's very important. I think it is a significant advantage, and I'm going to defer to Chad on the answer of like how to overcome that.
I agree with you, by the way. It's definitely a nice to have. I don't think by any means that the success of your agency is predicated on whether you can have like in-person shoots with the creator. It certainly makes things easier. It certainly improves your odds of success, especially where like good quality short form content comes into play, because you can quite literally direct those content shoots in the exact way that you or your CSMs envisioned, which means that the discrepancy between what you think, what your ideas are, and what you receive, what you get out of it, is very small. By no means is it necessary. Like, okay, some of the biggest agencies, some of the top 10 agencies in the world, do have like a very in-person focused system where they've got frequent shoots with their creators. They kind of all live in like whatever, Miami or LA or something. But it's not something that indicates success. And if you cannot do that, which is like the optimal scenario, then the answer to that question is you need to make sure that your content plans and your communication is absolutely on point. One of the key benefits, aside from creating better content, that you have from having your creator in person and being able to have that in-person relationship, is the communication aspect and what that does for your retention, essentially. If you have models that you are shooting content with once a week, a couple of times a month, you're going to build very strong relationships and operate really well with them. And that, for them, means that they're more likely to stay with your agency. They see the value tangibly, like they see the people that are involved, they see your team, they see how much energy and effort and time you're putting into them and into their business. It's very hard to do that digitally. It's very hard to evidence what you're doing. I mean, I think the unfortunate truth now is that a lot of creators have been burned by agencies, and their perception of agencies is like a couple of guys in their mum's basement spinning up some IG accounts, which is kind of true. But for the agencies that are larger and more corporate, it's really hard to reference that. It's really hard to show that impact and that input that you're having as a business. But it's not by any means a determining factor necessarily of how successful you can be. It just comes down to making sure that every single bit of communication is on point. Like, you need to be responding, or somebody needs to be responding, like your CSM or someone that's responsible for communication, within the hour. Like, one of the quickest ways to lose creators is to not communicate with them in a prompt and timely manner. So if your communication is very good, working remotely is fine. Likewise, if your ability to prepare content plans and direct your creator and make life easy for them where that's concerned, then you shouldn't have a hard time either. Where I see that breaking down, if you don't have in-person relations, if your communication sucks, you're slow, you're sluggish, your responses are aren't useful or even positive, and if your ability to prepare content plans is bad, and you're not providing the support that you need there, then she's, one, you're going to get shit content back.
Yep.
And second of all, she's not going to stay around because if she can go and work with an agency, maybe she's based in Miami, maybe she's based in LA or somewhere in the States, there are going to be agencies that will promise her and kind of half deliver the world, as far as like, we'll do this, we'll fly you here, we'll have these content shoots, we've got all of these events going on, we have these parties. You cannot compete with those guys if you're running a remote agency and your service sucks.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really, really, really great point, is that like, if you're working with creators that are operating in these major hubs that have a bunch of options and the ability to work with people in person, they're going to, like, unless you're doing a really, really, really good job, and like sometimes even that's not quite enough, but yeah, that's a really, really, really good point. All right, this is another good one.
How are you able to predict every single move, by the way?
Well, I mean, I knew that you had Ting Lu, so I knew that you were going to predict the Thunderbolt. I don't actually think that I'm going to be able to do anything about it, unfortunately. Like, I think I actually still have.
You're going to have to take some damage.
Yeah, I'm going to take some damage, and it is going to, I think EQ kills me, so I actually do have to switch here, and I don't have a great switch in. I think I just sacked Doxbun. Oh, I don't even sack. He's just
Nah, he survives. Yeah.
he's just too fat.
Yeah.
I think I can do. Let's see. How cheeky do I want to get here? Not that cheeky. I'm just gonna get some chip. Yeah. And then, yeah. That seems good. We'll just click this. Okay. What do you think about acquiring OnlyFans models mainly through inbound personal brand content instead of cold outreach? I run a faceless Hungarian brand that teaches creator branding and US audience growth. Models apply through a form, and I vet them before working together. Do you think this can scale, and what would be the biggest weakness of this approach? I already sent a DM to the ones that are active on X. We're a small country. I think that this is a phenomenal approach. This is how for those of you that are not aware, I did recently start like a co-branded agency endeavor with Chatstar, and this is how we are acquiring models. I think this is the best way to do it. The downside, the theoretical downside, is you have to have a personal brand and you have to know what you're talking about, because you're not going to get inbound if you don't, like, if the brand doesn't exist, and there is a lot of upfront work that goes into developing the brand, right? Like my YouTube channel, I've been doing this for, I think, like not quite 18 months, maybe. Have I been doing this for, hold on. I think I've been doing it for just like maybe 14 months. So there's a lot of like, and I have a small YouTube channel, right? I only have like 7,000 subscribers. If I wanted to do, if you're doing like B2B content, there's obviously, this is a niche within a niche, organic social within the context of OFM. But still, it's taken me a long time to build this personal brand and get it to the point where I get inbound leads from models. So there is a time investment, there is an effort investment. That would be the quote unquote downside. But I honestly think like I just don't have a business without my YouTube channel, right? Like none of this exists. I'm not sitting here talking to Chad. I'm not interacting with the best agencies in the world. I don't have like a consistent customer base unless I have a personal brand. So I think personally, this is the best way to approach it. And it sounds like you're kind of doing everything right. You have like you're doing models within your geography, so you're only working with Hungarian models. You're vetting them, which is absolutely like that's the other huge advantage, is that like you have selection preference. If you have inbound leads, like I get probably between, let's say, like 2 and 5 applications per day. And I get to be, as a consequence of that, I get to be very selective about who I work with. I'm not in the position of all these other agencies that have been asking questions today, where it's like, I don't have any options, and like all of the creators that want to work with me suck. I just don't have that problem. So yeah, I think all of this is great. I think it's a great question, and I think that you should continue to grow and pursue this strategy. What do you think, Chad?
Unfortunately, I can't disagree with you. I would have loved to have provided like a juxtaposition argument, but it is literally the best way to position yourself in this business model, without a doubt. Building a personal brand is, like I said earlier in the live stream, I'm not sure if this person's been around since the beginning of the live stream, but there are agencies who are in the top 10 on inflow. So they're making a lot of money, and they are bang average at chat, at marketing, at all of the things that we spend so much time trying to develop and improve, solely because of how good they are at recruitment. And almost 10 times out of 10, that is due to some person's personal brand that either was linked with their agency at one point, or one of the founders has a very strong personal brand. I know for us, like Liam has a really good personal brand, and that has provided so many of the high quality leads that come through the door that ultimately allow us to really move the needle for the business. And if we didn't have that, like I do have to ask myself, as good as I like to think our team are at chat, at marketing, I would be lying to you if I said that we would be anywhere near where we are now revenue-wise if it was not for that element of a personal brand. So yeah, I think you should double down on what you're doing, mate. You are ticking all of the boxes, and you will if you can then tie that in with a very good system for chatting and a very good understanding of organic social, all that stands in the between you and 7 figures a month is hiring and training. You know, you've got all of the necessary components there to build a very big agency.
Yeah, 100% agree. Great question. Okay, we do content in a country with less than 10 million people. I bought your course and you talk about sub-niching. Is that something I should do in a country that small, or should I stay in a niche category? For example, category fitness, stay in the powerlifting niche or niche down? This is an interesting question because I usually, this isn't something that I've personally done. I do want to clarify something, like the category niche, sub-niche framework that I talk about in the course applies to the overall market for that content. But if you are in a geography where there's inherently, like you said, there's 10 million people within your geography, almost everything, and you're only targeting your geo, almost everything is going to fall into that category. So I would the powerlifting niche in, I don't know what country you're in, but I'm just going to say Romania or whatever. Romanian powerlifting creator, I think that you're going to be a-okay. You don't really need to get more niche than that, other than just making sure that the creator's personality is displayed and all that fun stuff. Do I want to keep this Inte around? Probably not at 4%. I'm just going to, oh, he went for it.
Oh.
Okay, we did not get the burn. And I think you're weak enough that I can just probably sack here. So yeah, I think that you're probably fine with the approach that you're taking. Obviously without knowing what specific content you're creating, I'm going to have limited information, but based on your description, I think that this is probably a perfectly fine approach. Chad, have you guys ever worked with geo-specific creators? Do you have any unique insight here?
Well, for us, the geo-specific creators would be the UK, and we have had some really successful work with clients based in the UK. I think a lot of it comes down to some of the stuff we covered in the previous question, which is how close your business relationship is with those people, and the frequent communication and the meetups and the shoots and that kind of thing really helps with better output, better content. But it also helps with retention massively too. What we haven't done really is tried to, so if the question is, have we tried to geo-lock a creator to one specific region and dominate that market? So in the example of the person who asked this question, if they're trying to dominate, let's say, the Romanian market, maybe that's something that would work as a strategy, but I'm just not sure that it provides you much scope to grow long term. Maybe I'm misinterpreting the question, but if that's the intent behind the question, then I think it's really a useful thing to do in the beginning. So again, when you're starting your agency, working with creators who are geographically local to you is such a beneficial factor.
Yeah.
That it's almost like a no-brainer. You have to try at least, unless you're based in somewhere that's super super unideal.
Right. Yeah. You're in Indonesia or something like that, then that's going to be a problem. You don't want to be in Indonesia targeting the Indonesian audience. No. But if you're in a relatively wealthy Western European country, this could maybe apply to I'm sure Germany has a higher population than 10 million, but I think 10 million is probably still a good number for you to be thinking this way. And the other cool thing is sort of related to the personal branding question from the last guy. Man, you're getting really unlucky with these sleep talks.
Right.
The personal branding question from the last guy applies here insofar as, I'm just going to keep clicking this button.
Yeah, please do.
I'm just going to keep clicking the button. Okay. We get in mining for free here.
Wow, the burn hack as well. Crazy.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. Starting this, I think starting small, starting with the geo that is going to be tremendously advantageous, and you can become, it's much easier to be the biggest OnlyFans management agency in Romania. Well, maybe that's not a good example because I think Romania is a hotspot, but you understand what I'm saying. It's better to be the biggest OnlyFans management agency in Liechtenstein and like have all of the Liechtenstein creators than it is to be like the 1 millionth, mediocre USA based agency.
100%. Especially in the earlier stages. Unfortunately, the OnlyFans management model is like all of the growth and leverage happens like at the end game. The beginning is really like you're in the trenches, like
Yes.
you are just kind of like slogging it out and trying your best to fight for creators and fight for traffic tooth and nail. But that definitely gives you like a get out of jail free card for that period of time where you have to suffer, because you'll have so much leverage over that specific geolocation that you're going to kind of like bypass a lot of that shit that most guys have to deal with in the early stages.
Yep, 100%. Okay, now I don't think this is a guaranteed kill.
I'm wondering what you have. Surely it's got to be like...
No!
Ooh.
Oh, your AV Tinglu? Oh my god, bro, that's brutal.
Yeah.
I did not realize you... Wait, yeah, your assault vest.
Assault vest, yeah.
Fuck. Oh man. Okay,
Do we get the dub here? Ladies and gents?
This is not good.
2 Pokemon up.
Switched, man. God damn it. Okay, this is the last question, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Opinions on mentorship. Is it good for beginners, or should we just get stuck in and experiment?
Wow.
I'm gonna let you go first because I've got a lot of opinions on this.
No. Mentorship is... So, yeah, man, there are so many examples I can reference for this to evidence my point. The answer, in short, is no. And the reason being is you need to, like, eat shit for a little while. Trying to pay to win by, getting yourself on board with a mentor, as good as that mentor might be, they cannot hold your hand through, like, the shit eating part. You've got to understand the fundamentals of the business, and mentorship isn't cheap, man. Like,
no,
I don't know
good mentorship is not cheap. If you're getting some like $500 like bullshit program, it's $500. Like, and the people that ask this question, I think like $500 is a lot of money to them. If $500 is a lot of money to you, you cannot afford mentorship that is even going to be worth $500.
No, completely agree. And there's no value to be had for you in that situation. Like, they're going to teach you some very basic fundamentals of getting off the ground that you could get, honestly, from free resources, YouTube videos.
Yep.
The mentorship only really becomes like super high leverage, I think, when you're at like the 30 to 40K mark, and you're then struggling with like hiring, training, systems,
Specific
processes.
problems. Yes.
Yeah, like the big stuff, man. That's when mentorship becomes worth the price tag. When you don't have a model, like we've had this before. We've had guys who, like, they pay for a call. They spend like $1,000 for a call, an hour of your time, and they're like, yeah, I want to get into the business. I don't have a model. I don't have a business. I don't have an agency. I have no idea about how to get a model, or I know nothing about traffic or chat. And it's like, why didn't you start with like the free resources online that could have told you this in like a couple of hours of research? Because you've now just paid $1,000 for an hour of my time, and I can't help you beyond giving you very basic advice, like how to run the business. Like, you're not getting anything out of this that you couldn't have got free. So no, the answer is no. I would recommend that the only people that look to bring on a mentor are the people that already have a handful of models. They've been doing this for a number of months at least. They know what it's like to eat the shit and like fight tooth and nail for creators and traffic. And they now want to scale to 6 figures, 7 figures with expanding their team, better systems, better SOPs. And that's really where it becomes valuable, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I think everything that you said is 1,000% true. Fuck you for ruinating there. I think I'm just gonna roost until you miss ruining.
Oh no, come on, man.
I would add to that there, like, the concept of mentorship specifically in this industry is really, okay, yeah, thank you for EQing there. Mentorship means somebody is spending one-on-one time with you. So I think a lot of people sell courses and call it mentorship. There's a huge difference between those things. A mentor is like somebody who is working with you one-on-one, is like hands-on with you, is able to help you with specific questions that you're dealing with in the business. If you're a beginner, exactly like Chad said, there's like infinite information that's out there for free. You don't really need to like hire somebody to teach you the basics of OFM. Like there's a million different, there's literally, I made a video about this. In the intro to the video, there's like almost 700 intro to OFM videos on YouTube alone. So not all of them are going to be of equal quality, obviously, but like you can get all of the information that you need to get started is out there for free. My specific, I don't do mentorship. I do consulting. And the difference there is, oh God, this thing is going to be a fucking problem. I really needed my Zoom reel for this. I actually don't think this is winnable for me unless I get like some kind of crazy crit.
I think we're going to be you're going to be struggling, as in like the move struggle.
Yeah.
And then I'm eventually going to win based on the fact that I've got more.
You're going to PP stall me.
Yeah, basically.
Can I kill you with, I don't think Azu can kill you. I think you got this one, man. God damn it. God damn it. Of course we fucking close off with a win for you. Oh yeah, once you start to curse up, it's over. Fuck, I knew I should have switched on your fucking Tinglu. I did not know it was the Assault Vest set. Yeah, we're cooked.
I've got unlucky here. Unlucky, I'll be honest. I mean, it would have been a clean sweep, but I might be okay. We'll see.
Yeah, so, and again, to like everything that you basically said everything that I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would add is that like at the highest level, consulting specific services, like if you have a specific problem that you are trying to solve or address, that is when, and I just wouldn't even like the word mentorship. If somebody is offering mentorship as a paid service, that just kind of instantly tells me that they're not worth taking seriously. So what you want to look for is consulting. My course is a good example of something that is like, I'm not working with you one-on-one. You're part of the community. I'll answer your questions, but the course is like a really thorough framework for understanding everything you need to know about organic social. And like, you're going to get a lot out of that, but it's not mentorship. It's not me coaching you and giving you specific guidance every single day. If you want that, you're going to want to hire a consultant. And so what that looks like is you would approach a consultant and you would say, here's the basket of problems that I'm dealing with in my business. In my case, it's always going to be related to organic social and brand building. And then I'm going to look at your individual situation, your individual creator, and I'm going to come up with a game plan that is tailored specifically to you, your organization, and your problem. That's what a good consultant does. But like the reality is that if you, the problems that in order for that to be economically feasible for you, you're probably making $100K a month already. So like as a beginner, it's just not even on the table for you. That's not like an ego hubris thing. It's not me saying like, oh, you can't afford me, I'm too good for you or whatever. It's just that like I wouldn't even be able to provide value to a beginner because there's so much foundational knowledge that you're lacking that in order to pay me to teach you all of that knowledge, like it would be hours and hours. It would probably be in the neighborhood of like 50 to 100K, which is just like, if you're a beginner, you probably don't have that money. So yeah, I think mentorship in general, bad idea. Go out and experiment, go get in the shit, take your licks. Exactly like Chad said, like eat shit for a while. It's going to suck. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Soak up as much free information as you possibly can. You have Chad's YouTube, which just launched, which is going to be a wellspring of information, I'm sure. If you're watching this and you for some reason have not subscribed, it's the first link in the description. Please go subscribe to his channel right now. You obviously have my channel. There's tons of videos. If there's like specific problems that you're dealing with, I would recommend going into my Telegram community and saying, hey, here's the problem that I'm dealing with. 90% chance that I already have a video about it that I can refer you to. That's going to be super helpful to you, that you don't have to pay me thousands of dollars for. So yeah, great question to end things on. Oh, my internet connection is going out. I don't. Okay, wait. We got the paralyzed. We got the para. Let's see if we can crit now. Let's see if we can get like 3 crits in a row.
Even if you did, like this is going to be an endless battle back and forth of like PP stalling. So, oh my god,
we got 1 crit. We got the crit and the para. Let's go. Come on, come on. Can I rob
what
you?
is going
Can I rob
on
you
there?
blind?
I'm going back to rest, man. Fuck this.
Got it.
I'd rather quit than let you win this
No,
match.
you got this. GG, man. GG. Good games, bro, and great stream. Thank you for showing up. I definitely like to do this again in the future because this was super fun. Hopefully
For sure.
everybody who is in the chat got a ton of value out of this. Thank you guys for watching, for attending. I'm going to be, for anybody that is in my paid Discord community, I am going to be doing another private live stream on at about 2 p.m. Eastern, so that's going to be like an hour and 20 minutes from now. That's going to be a much shorter live stream. I'm just going to be kind of showcasing my that app that I was talking about earlier, Proofline. But yeah, thank you guys again. Chad, thank you. And you have any parting comments for the crowd?
I just want to thank everyone who's watched, and I'd like to thank you for being a graceful host and letting me win that last match there, despite knowing that you would have absolutely destroyed me. It was really fun, and I'm glad we got to share an hour or so of our shared love for competitive Pokemon. But yeah, thank you for everyone who watched. I appreciate anyone that's already gone and subscribed to the channel. Yeah, look out for some very, very valuable, practical, implementable information coming soon.
Hell yes, I'm looking forward to it, man.